those are even going to go away over the next couple of days. And we are going to start things off on the warmer side. We are coming at you live, of course, as we do every single night, Monday through Friday, 9:30 at night on News 6 Plus and on the News 6 YouTube stream. Thank you so much for being here tonight as we take a live look in Daytona Beach. It is a gigantic weekend in Daytona, really gigantic weekend in Daytona. We could obviously use the rain, but that rain could threaten part of the race. There's still a lot to be ironed out with this next system, but we're going to take a look at the latest model data for you. We're going to try to pin something down. Also taking a live look at Winter Beach this evening. In this live stream tonight, we're talking about the pattern change. Of course, you can feel it outside, but with this pattern change is going to come some consequences. Brush fires are popping up all over Central Florida like crazy. We had at least 4 today. We have a new active one in Volusia County that we are going to take a look at in just 1 second. We're going to get all into that. We're going to take a look at that system potentially messing with the Daytona 500 in a second as well. And then before the first break, we are going to play trivia. So post in the comments where you are tuning in from, and we are going to get at it. Before we get into that system that could threaten the Daytona 500, at least part of it, I don't think it's an all-day rain or anything like that. I don't even think the rain is all that widespread or heavy, which is not good for this situation. But we'll get into that coming up in a couple of minutes. I want to start with this. All these little marks on the screen here are active wildfires. The ones that are brown are contained at 100%. The ones that are red are not contained. There is the newest one that popped up, at least in the greater Central Florida area, Volusia County, closer to the land. 50-acre fire right now, 25% contained. The good news is it is not threatening anything at this time. So it's in kind of the middle of nowhere. No structures are threatened at this time. Take a closer look again, kind of closer to Barberville in Central Florida, again, right by Deep Creek Lake. So no structures threatened. Watching that, but there was another significant one today, right around Eustis, just east of Eustis, the Johns Lane fire. Say that 5 times fast. We had our community correspondent, Tylisa Hampton, out there earlier today. Very, very close. There were evacuations with that one. We've had evacuations in Marion County because of a fire. We've had over the weekend. Same for Flagler County. So this is starting to get ugly. It's been that way. We've talked about it pretty much at length for the last couple of weeks here on the live stream, kind of highlighting that, okay, it's dry. But the one thing that has accelerated this further, and we've also talked about this since we've been in the freeze, or really after we cleared that freeze, if you remember, is the fact that we have a lot of extra dead vegetation because of the freeze. We typically don't have it that cold for that long, while it's also ending the previous wet season on a dry note. So it's kind of getting into this almost perfect storm kind of deal that could get ugly very, very quickly. So it is critically important that everybody's doing their part and not burning anything. And if you're not in a burn ban and still are doing stuff, to just make sure that you are paying close attention, because most of these fires that are popping up, we don't have any lightning right now, are going to be started by humans. So just be careful what's going on out there. Keach Byram Drought Index. This has been a nightly occurrence for a while. I always like to keep you guys updated with this. There's a bunch of numbers and a bunch of mumbo jumbo on here, but it tells the story. The orange color, that's where we're starting to get real nasty. Once you start to cross the 600 threshold, it starts to get really critical. And the battalion chief in Lake County, I got to meet with him last year. We did live shots together for the news in Lake County, and he was explaining all of this stuff on how they respond. And 600 is whenever they start to get real fidgety, real antsy when they're watching these numbers go up. So Sumter and Marion were already crossing the 550 threshold, and those points went up by another 2 to 3 today. We're doing okay in Orange and Seminole County. Putnam, we're closing in. On 500. Flagler, we're closing in on 450. We have the burn ban in Flagler. State of emergency locally issued because of just how dry everything is. And again, 500 is that typical number that sets the burn ban in place, but local government stepped in and were like, okay, we're not waiting for the 500 because we have that extra dead fuel around from, as Kimberly mentioned, that freeze. So that's the other thing that's kind of messing with things. Um, Volusia County right now is not in under any burn ban. That could change. They're waiting for that 500 number. They might jump the gun and issue it earlier just because of how bad it is out there. Lake County, we are quickly approaching that number. If we're adding about 4 to 5-ish points each day, we're going to be there within the next, what, 2 weeks? 4 times 7, 21. Yeah. Within the next week to 10 days, we're going to be pushing that 500 number in Brevard County, in Osceola County, in Lake County, in all of our counties, with the exception of Seminole and Orange, like within the next week, could be over 500. And that's not a good thing, obviously, for sure. Now, our next system is developing off of the California coastline. You see these two things right here? Those two little swirls out there. This is what's coming in our direction eventually. They're going to play with each other, dance with each other, and then develop this storm that's going to roll across the northern Gulf Coast and eventually into Florida by the second half of the weekend. Got a question on here, how much rain can Florida get? I'm going to take a look at that. I'm going to show you the latest model projections with that storm coming up after this first break. But it is Tuesday, and while we are talking about something serious in the growing wildfire threat, I do want to get to our Trivia Tuesday question here on the show. If you're not familiar, every Tuesday we play some trivia. All right. So here's one, straightforward. What instrument measures the wind speed? Is it A, barometer, B, anemometer, C, hygrometer, or D, thermometer? I'll see you guys in 3 minutes. Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Coming at you live on New 6 Plus and on the New 6 YouTube page. It is Trivia Tuesday, so I want to get right to the question because we still have a lot to get into. What instrument measures the wind speed? Is it A, barometer, B, anemometer, C, hygrometer, or D, thermometer? And the answer is anemometer. If you've ever seen those kind of spinny things, there's little cups on there's about three to four cups on it, catches the wind and it spins, and that measures the wind speed. So it is B, anemometer. The barometer measures pressure. That was another popular answer. Barometer measures pressure, not the wind speed. So when we're talking about if there's a storm coming or high pressure there, the pressure goes up. If the storm is coming, the pressure goes down. And that is what the barometer measures. That is going to be the pressure. Anemometer is the wind speed, and if you didn't know, wind speed, the official wind speed is measured 10 meters off the ground. That is 33 feet off the ground. That's where that anemometer hangs out for the official reading, and it is measured in miles per hour, as we know. In the weather world, it is also measured in knots and then meters per second. So there's sometimes a lot of conversion to do. Like when we're dealing with the hurricane hunters and stuff, their stuff comes back in knots rather than miles per hour aviation stuff. Typically in knots. All right. Here's the deal. Pattern is a changing. Look at this. 66 in Nashville, 66 in San Antonio. We are in the lower 60s in Orlando. We're back to the mid 60s in Miami, 66 in New Orleans, Brownsville back to the lower 70s. So the warmth is starting to surge into the south, even into the mid-Atlantic. Pittsburgh got into the 50s, almost 60 today. So that is that signal that the pattern is changing. There is the warm-up that is coming. And as this is happening, we are watching this kind of big storm system get going. I showed you it's starting to spin off of the California coastline. These storms typically come at us in pieces. And there is all of that coming together. So Zachary's asking why the dramatic change from last week. And this is partially the reason right here, because now we have this ridge kind of building. I'll show you if we have time. If not, we'll get to it tomorrow. But we have the jet stream now digging down into the West Coast. And now we have kind of the warmth surging up. You see all this brown down here. There's an upper level high that's building over Mexico, and we are starting to be influenced by that. So the warmth is kind of surging up out of the Caribbean. But there's where our storm comes in. Here is the latest. I might need to extend this out because I think the model updated on me. Nope, we're good. All right, so let's take this out into the future. This is what is, giving us our best shot of rain over the next 7 days. It's going to be this big system. Again, the pieces of it are going to start coming together. Well, they are coming together right now. And then there's the rain pushing through. And then here we go. That's 7 o'clock on Sunday. Okay. So that's 7 o'clock. The race starts at 2:30. This is for the Daytona 500. Any race fans, post in the comments. 2:30, the race starts. I'm optimistic. The morning is good for tailgating. Saturday's great. The duels are great. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, amazing. First half of Sunday, awesome. It's going to be like 4 o'clock and beyond. I start to get a little worried about some rain sneaking in here. This is the European rendition, by the way. I do think it's overdoing the signal for the rain coming in. But nonetheless, where did my model go? I think maybe like a quarter of an inch of rain through Central Florida, maybe a half inch max. I don't think it's going to be enough to really help the situation too much. That's the issue. We'll take what we can get, of course, but it doesn't look like it's a ton of rain. And that's one of the things that we're going to be watching for as this system comes in Sunday into Monday. But again, anything helps. certainly anything measurable, but we need a lot more to start taking a bite out of the drought situation. Alrighty, guys, I will be back in 3 minutes. Have to get my other break in. When we come back, any questions that are in the chat, we will get to. Thanks a ton for being here on a Tuesday night. I keep on thinking it's like Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. Anything but Tuesday. I'll catch you guys in 3 minutes. Alrighty, guys, we are back. It is about 9:49. I have a couple of minutes to get into some questions. And Kimberly brought up something about North Florida. So I want to show you the North Florida rainfall totals here. So we'll get back to the other weather computer. And North Florida would be the exception. Now, this is the European rendition. I'll show you the other models, which are a little more bullish, which would be nice. But this is up here. This is anywhere from 6 inches. 6 inches. Geez, that'd be lovely. But all up in here is about a half an inch to an inch. Down from right about here, it's more like a quarter of an inch to a half an inch, maybe a little bit more than that. So that's the European view of it. This is the GFS, and the GFS would be awesome. There's a little bullseye like right over Central Florida that paints like 2 inches. I don't know that that happens. And up here is like 2 to 4 inches of rain. I think that's also a little bit aggressive, but the GFS wants to take a much more southerly track when it comes to this system. I don't know if that's correct. And then the European AI model is also on board with getting a little bit further south. That's a half inch of rain. That would be lovely for Marion, Volusia, Flagler, and into Lake, and then pushing a half an inch. So if the European AI verifies, that would be awesome as well. Night sky Thursdays, it's gotten a little busy with the cold coming in. So that kind of took a little bit of a backseat to the high impact cold stuff. We're going to work on bringing that back for sure, because that's one of my other loves is the night sky. So we're going to get back into that as well. Florida is thirsty for water, says Anthony. Not enough rain. I agree. We don't want it all at once. We don't want to flood. But half inch here, inch here. That'd be lovely. That's not what's happening, but nonetheless, we'll take again what we can get. Again, here's the picture if you're just joining us on the chat. A lot of people tuning in on YouTube tonight. Thank you guys for being here on a Tuesday night. I keep on wanting to say, I keep on saying that. Who's saying they're not smart? Melissa, that's not true. Stop it. I hope the GFS is right as well. It probably isn't. It probably isn't. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. A lot of times the GFS struggles with this kind of pattern, the southern stream. But we'll see. We will see for sure. Alrighty, guys. I have to go get ready for the 10 o'clock news. Want to get the latest on this brush fire from our news desk as this is coming through. Still as of 9:52, the fire in Volusia County into land, 25% contained, 50-acre fire. If you're just joining us, we've had these brush fires kind of pop up all day today. Everything in the red is an active fire, so the fire crews are staying busy. Yep, that says at 6:38. So we haven't had an update in about 3 hours. So hopefully they update this soon, and hopefully it's way more than 25% contained. Again, the good news is this one is not threatening any structures like the one in Eustis was earlier today, and like the one in Marion County was over the weekend. Again, we're seeing like a handful of brush fires popping up each day now. Yes, we're in the dry season. It's a little early for us to start seeing this many. Thankfully, the wind has kind of backed off. That was partially the reason why I asked the wind question today, because it had been so windy with those cold fronts coming through, and the real-time data that I was able to show you brought to you by the anemometer. Alrighty, guys. Hope you have a fantastic evening. We are here every Monday through Friday at 9:30. Coming up on News 6 at 10. That's on YouTube and on News 6 Plus. We're obviously going to talk about the dry conditions, and I'm going to show you the latest modeling when it comes to that system to hopefully give us some much-needed rain. Again, it does put the Daytona 500, a little bit of the race anyway, at risk to get a little wet. I think it's at the very end. It's going to be close. I think Thursday, Friday, Saturday, first half of Sunday, looking fantastic for the race festivities. But we're going to get all into that. Coming up, News 6 at 10 o'clock. I will see you guys then. Thanks so much for taking 30 minutes of your time to hang out with me tonight and just talk about the weather. I will catch you tomorrow night where we are going to go into this pattern a little deeper, talk about why the pattern so abruptly changed. And now we're talking maybe temperatures closing in on 90 within the next 10-day stretch. Yeah, that's possible. A complete 180 in the weather department. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Better yet, a couple minutes, News 6 at 10. And then also News 6 at 11. See you tomorrow night.